Morning and welcome to everybody. This is the South African Chamber of Commerce in the UK that is launching our South African KZN chapter today. I am Sharon Constanson. I'm Chairman of the South African Chamber of Commerce, and I welcome all of you from many continents in the globe today that are joining us, particularly from those in South Africa and those in the UK, which is where our largest numbers are. We all know that focus drives engagement. And this has been the focus of the Chamber, is to start working on chapter regions within the UK and chapters in the territories and now into the South African region as well. And KZN is our first chapter that we are launching, which is extremely exciting for all of us. And we are followed shortly by the Cape chapter before the end of this year. What we're doing from a Chamber point of view is in reinventing ourselves, getting closer to members, getting closer to the people that are actually trading and importing and exporting, and making sure that we can support those individual communities and be of greater relevance to themselves. And the part that has been fantastic for the Chamber is during a period of lockdown, which has been absolutely awful for business, economies, the world, globally, is that we've had to reinvent ourselves during this period. And we've achieved that by being able to go into the online environment and reach the caliber of people you can see on your screen in front of you today, which we couldn't get into a room at the same point in time under any normal circumstances. So we're looking forward to the new normal, allowing us still to reach the caliber of contributors that we have. But not only that, it's the members and the people that are attending and people that partake in the Chamber activities. They're also of a much wider grouping of people, because most of them are not all based in London in the same room that we would be in otherwise. So welcome to everybody who have come from this global world that we're in at the moment. Today is a wonderful milestone moment to launch our first South African country chapter that is within the South African context. We are here to promote trade, investment, and also to be a support to business communities in both of the countries. The foundation of the KZN chapter goes back a long time. We've had very strong relationships as a Chamber with the KZN region, going on trade missions, which, for example, Kuseni and myself were on a while ago, many years ago. So this is a long-term relation that has been built up with the provincial governments of the KZN area and of the businesses in this region. And if it weren't for the likes of David White, who is with us today, and Mxolisi, who have been flying the flag of making sure that this KZN moment can be launched, Theresa May, a friend of and ally of South Africa, our previous Prime Minister, said in a interview that she was doing with one of our advisory board members last week, in conversation with Theresa May, and was talking about the need to raise South Africa's profile to UK Limited and what are the kinds of things that we can do, which is exactly where the Chamber is positioned, is to be able to do that to UK Limited. The reason being is you can then bring an opportunity to create export markets for South Africa. The rand is strong at the moment, strong because we have a high interest rate and a trade surplus being two major contributors to the strong rand. But that is not going to help exporters at this point in time. So we need a lot more exporters. The more that the country can export, the more it can create employment, and the more it gets income into the country and into the economy. And what that does is it brings to the individuals who are now being employed in the local communities the upliftment of the individual lives of South Africa, which is the purpose of the South African Chamber. Today I have a special privilege in having probably the largest panel I've had put together for me. David, thank you very, very much for all of the effort we've got to get this incredible selection of people together all at one time. We'll be hearing from each of them briefly, but I think we are really honored to have a caliber of this nature. The people that we will be listening to today will be Palesa Phili, who is CEO of the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Following her will be the following people, which are all related to the Chamber in one way or another, either on our ExCo or on our advisory board. It's Mxolisi Miya, who is an ExCo member and is our KZN chapter leader. John Miller, who is also on the ExCo and is the leader of our Ireland chapter, which was our first chapter that actually was created in the offshore market outside of the UK region. We have David White, who is ExCo member as well, and is the SA chapter's leader for the country of South Africa to help us generate this and repeat this on a countrywide basis. And then we have Moses Tembe, who is actually a board member of the South African Chamber of Commerce, over and above his many other duties that all of you know him for. And then we have partners and friends and allies of the Chamber, which is Roshni Katsavan from Standard Bank and KZN. And then we have Kuseni Dlamini, a long-time supporter of the Chamber and on our advisory board, and is well known for his contribution to business in South Africa through his chairmanship of Massmart and Aspen Pharmaceuticals. So you're not here to listen to me. I'm here to make sure that you can listen to everyone else. So our panel will now all go off camera, and we will be talking in person with a one-on-one conversation with the individual panelists over the next 45 minutes. Palesa, wonderful to see you today and to see the lovely port of Durban behind you. I must admit, at this time of the year, I've been in Durban and it's not quite October heat, but it will be warming up already. And just one of the things I wanted you to share with us, please, Palesa, is you have a deep understanding of the needs of business in the KZN province. We were sharing some discussions the other morning. Please will you share with us how you go about encouraging business leaders in KZN and probably the greater South Africa from your perspective in Durban to consider trading internationally. And please will you share with us some of the supporting activities that the Chamber, the Durban Chamber, are already providing to your members in terms of supporting international trade.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for inviting the Durban Chamber to this great launch.
Indeed, pleasure.
As a chamber, you know, we are very, very excited with the launch of the KZN chapter of the UK Chamber. You may be aware, as we chatted a couple of days ago, that I also visited the KZN the UK Chamber, SA Chamber, in 2019, and we're really looking forward to working better together in terms of really promoting export trade between both countries and also other countries as well within Europe. As the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we do have what we call the international business. And what we have been typically doing is we've been hosting a lot of trade delegations inbound, as well as sometimes outbound, working very closely with the TIKZN, as well as mostly our cities, more specifically when we're talking about going to the UK. And of course, there's a lot of markets out there that we want to really introduce to, especially the SMMEs in our province of KZN. We have also, as a chamber, identified export market as a very key and important market that it's very important that we educate SMMEs about the possibility and the options of expanding their businesses, looking at the export market. Of course, when we look at the export market, there's a lot of things such as there's a lot of things that we need to look at, such as compliance of various products that we would want to export. And working very closely with KZN, we work with small businesses to assist them with compliance and also help them look out for opportunities of trade. For example, last week we held a trade mission. Well, it was a webinar that we held with Sri Lanka businesses, where we really opened up an opportunity for export of agricultural products that we have in our province. It was very exciting to see a lot of young African Black women part of this great sector, looking for opportunities of where they can actually be able to export their products. Over and above, the agricultural sector, we've got various sectors where we've got young, energetic people, even the ICT sector, young, energetic, people that really want to start working with international companies to see how the collaboration can be to help expose the SMMEs into the international markets. So there's various different types of manufacturing companies that we have in our city and in our province that would be keenly and very excited to look forward to looking at the export market. Over and above that, we also do a small programs. There's a new program that we're currently going to be launching soon with GIZ, the German government, where they will be funding us to identify 40 small, medium enterprises that have got products already that need to be exported. So our role will be to really assist them to look for the markets that they can actually export to. And of course, the UK being one of the big key markets for our country and our province, we're really looking forward to having those engagements. Likewise as well, I mean, what we always preach as the Durban Chamber is that, the international trade has to be mutually beneficial. So of course, we do have SMMEs that want to export their products and services, but also at the same time, we also want to engage with companies that want to, in the UK or any other parts of the world, that really are looking forward to exporting their own products into our country. And we've got, various business people that would be keen in areas such as, distribution, warehousing of some of their products, and see how they can also work with them to ensure that their products also get introduced into our market. So our view really is we need to have mutually beneficial relationships to make sure that the export becomes successful. Thank you.
We're really looking forward to working with you, Palesa, and we've had a couple of ideas. We've already started to brainstorm, and we've had one or two conversations that David has started to get motivated, where we're already starting to talk to people on the ground. And this is an extremely exciting venture, but also just for the communities of KZN and thinking of what you have been through recently, this is just such a wonderful way of making a difference to the individual communities. And as you say, the SMMEs, which is who we also care about so much, and giving them export opportunities is just very empowering for us as well. I'd now like to, and thank you very much, Palesa. That was wonderful and very exciting.
Thank you.
Mxolisi, I'd like to welcome you onto the panel, please.
Thank you, Sharon.
Welcome, CEO, and the man dressed so smartly for the occasion. We really do appreciate it. Mxolisi, please share with us where your passion has come from. We only recently know each other. You know David and others for a much longer period of time. But your smile, your laughter, your energy, and why did you want to take on leading the KZN chapter for us?
Yeah, good morning, Sharon. Thank you very much. Good morning, colleagues. It's exciting times. It's nice to be meeting people that I've worked with before in various platforms. Palesa, the Chamber, Moses Tembe, the Durban Chamber as well, and lots of other colleagues as well who are esteemed business people from KwaZulu-Natal. It goes without saying that as a son of KwaZulu-Natal, I have to be passionate about growing and developing the economy of the province for a number of reasons. One being, we as a country are confronted by high levels of unemployment, more especially at KwaZulu-Natal as well. The government of KwaZulu-Natal has set up various platforms to make sure that KwaZulu-Natal is put in a map to ensure that there is an attraction of foreign direct investment into the province. So my passion comes from that exposure. I worked for Trade and Investment KwaZulu-Natal for a number of years, 15 years to be precise. And this is where I got the courage and the passion to work for the province and make sure that the province is better situated to attract foreign direct investment into the province. So what a better platform and opportunity than the links that we have with the UK. We will all remember that ties between South Africa and the UK include shared culture, similar passion for trade, the language, English as a language as well. So are there many opportunities that are going to be created if we work together between these two countries? I think that the platform that we are opening up today through the SACC, that is the South African Chamber of Commerce, And the KZN chapter that we are launching this morning is going to create a number of opportunities for various business people, especially, and I want to emphasize, especially small businesses, who in many instances would think around within the box of KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa. But here's an opportunity to broaden the horizons and open our minds and share the benefits that we could attract by getting into this partnership between the United Kingdom and South Africa. And in short, that is where my passion comes from, Sharon. I'm excited. I look forward to working with a number of people who are keen and interested in developing the economy of the province. And I'm saying that the KwaZulu-Natal chapter of the SACC is here to assist where we can and to assist in developing the economy of the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
Well, welcome to the team, Mxolisi. You've been a breath of fresh air from the moment I met you. Thoroughly enjoy your engagement and look forward to working together with you and the rest of the team on board with us to really make a difference to the individuals and the communities of KZN and to business and to the greater economy in the process. Thank you, Mxolisi. I feel so uplifted. David, you and your crowd always make me feel so uplifted. It's fantastic. John, would you like to join us? John
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you very much, Mxolisi. Lovely to have you with us, John. Thank you very much. John and I have got to know each other quite well, and every time there's a Bokke game on, there's Braaivleis, and we get the photographs and we see his product burning away. You can tell us what that is in a moment. And he created the first idea of taking our chapter series into an offshore market, an offshore environment, and creating that focus where we can support South Africans in a much wider environment. We actually have very good relationships also with the US Chamber of Commerce as well, the South African Chamber of Commerce in the US. So we've got these additional chapters that are outside of our two countries. And John, as you can hear from his accent, is a very strong South African and a sort of supporter of South Africa who has been out of the country for, I think, about 2 years or so now. And what I'd like you to share with us, please, John, is the success in the launch of the Island chapter, which we did back in June. And then also to share with us your passion for creating South African business in a global environment. And why are you doing it? What are you doing in your own personal capacity to achieve that?
Sharon, thanks very much. Yeah, I arrived in Ireland just about 30 months ago now. And as you rightly say, I'm born and bred South African, my heart is there. I've always been a passionate believer in SME business because I do believe that a strong economy thrives is built off a strong SME culture. And that's actually very, very relevant here in Ireland, where close than 70% of the GDP runs off SMEs, whether they be contracted into corporates or whether they be actually running their own small businesses. So really, for me, it was an absolute no-brainer when we got introduced to you guys to actually get involved and say one of our core missions as a family when we got here was to be able to attempt to do trade with South Africa. We've been blessed enough to get that right so far, and we hope to grow that. But more importantly is to become part of this network where there is really real opportunity, and through liaising and coordinating with the various countries and the various chapters, we really can create real opportunity. Mm-hmm. We're very blessed to have extremely high caliber of people and very diverse people in our own chamber, from manufacturers of boerewors to architects to importers and exporters as well. So really, we've got a very nice, diverse group. We have a high level of intellectual capital, and really, what we want to do is just be the conduit to doing business between South Africa and Ireland, and also possibly we're just a hop and skip over to continental Europe where we can assist. So and we fall with the last English-speaking country within the EU. We certainly assist in terms of trying to help be a trade conduit for the EU. So that's really where we're at. Great team, really honored to be part of this. Every time I get onto these webinars or even just when I'm listening in, it just re-inspires me every single time. And thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you, John. It's wonderful to see our chamber growing and also what we are able to do for our members is constantly growing as well. And that is what we're here to do and to achieve. David, my co-anchor and the one who made today happen, David and I have been brewing up the storm for probably a few years together. And thanks to what has happened in Ireland, created a whole new being for the South African community from the UK into KZN specifically, and seeing what we can do to support the SMMEs business and the upliftment of the individuals as well. So David, you've been traveling backwards and forwards between South Africa and the UK since 2017, which is probably when we met each other the first time. And I think it was probably back in SA House that we probably met one another. You've always been looking for those opportunities to trade internationally, for the South African KZN businesses to trade internationally, for your own businesses to be able to offer services as well into an international community. So you've got a wealth of experience of having these discussions between the UK and SA and the kind of challenges that individual SMEs are likely to encounter, and equally, particularly at a human resource level, the challenges that foreign companies are encountering when they come into the South African environment. So please, can you share with us your passion for getting the chapter going for business and for trade?
Thank you very much, Sharon. It's so exciting to be here today, and it's such a special day in so many ways. Trade is indeed possible, especially between South Africa and the United Kingdom, and there are many good reasons for that. Palesa and Mxolisi have really highlighted some of them, but we also have a very strong export currency, which gives South Africa a lot of advantages above other countries. So that's really exciting. Trade routes have existed between South Africa and the United Kingdom for literally hundreds of years. Each year, we trade about 10 billion Rand each way. So it is very well established. Here in KZN, in particular, we have a lot of support from the Durban Chamber, from KZN, from the Growth Coalition, from Invest Durban, who are already providing a lot of support and infrastructure, making trade easier and possible. And I think possibly our biggest advantage at the moment, and something that we didn't have readily available previously, is our link with the South African Chamber UK, who are able to do incredible networking, help us with business support on the ground, and to provide professional introductions. So it's a very complete structure. Existing trade routes, a lot of support, and some friendly faces and passionate people on the other side waiting to help us. We've also had a lot of successes to this point already across different industries. Edamame soybeans, as an example, back-end accounting services, Polaris technology, which is converting plastic back into diesel, hand-painted crafts, financial services, and even chocolates. So we've seen a lot of different opportunities. Our process is very simple. We meet with bigger companies to talk to them about their specific needs. Quite often they have a lot of details in place, and we just see where we can help. With the smaller companies, and also with the support of the Durban Chamber, we do have a quality assurance process that helps smaller businesses to prepare to trade. So we're very, very excited, and today is just a wonderful start for the next phase of these services. Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks very much, David. It's through your energy that the South African Chamber of Commerce is able to be more relevant and to actually offer the direct support that is required to business. So thank you very much for being our conduit into this market, and enjoy working with you every time. We have lots of correspondence. There's lots of fun that happens on the chats and the banter between all of us. but thank you for your professionalism and the people that we've already met together. A great accolade to your effort that you're putting into the region. Before I go on to our next speaker, I would just like to ask, please, anybody who has any questions that you would like to position to the panel, which we will address at the end where we've got time, please put them into the Q&A function that we have got available, and I will use those questions to ask our panelists further insights as we get towards the latter end of our session. Moses, I'd love you to join us now. Moses has recently joined the Chamber as a board member of the Chamber. We are very honoured to have probably one of the busiest men in KwaZulu-Natal available on our board, bringing us insights in the membership environment and in the membership organisation environments where he has far more experience than I do, as does people like Palesa working in a membership situation. And I'd just like to let everyone know that all these people that are working with the Chamber, on the Chamber, that you are seeing that are ExCo advisory board or board members, we are all doing it for the love of. We have our day jobs. These are the things we do pro bono because this is what we think is important to develop for South Africa. Moses, as most of you will know, is the co-chair of the KZN Growth Coalition, and he has been a previous president of the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industries and gets involved in many other business initiatives within the KZN market. Moses has been a regular traveller to the UK for business reasons for many, many, many years in his own day job. So Moses, please share with all of us the work that you do in the KZN Growth Coalition and explain how you feel South African business leaders will benefit through knowing you, your Growth Coalition involvement, but also how can the South African Chamber of Commerce in the UK complement and complete that circle for you?
And thanks, Sharon. Indeed, it's so good to see all esteemed guests this morning. I'm going to try hard not to repeat what David and Palesa have given you. Maybe it would be appropriate at this point in time to kick off by introducing KZN Growth Coalition. KZN Growth Coalition, it's really what I would call a PPP, informal PPP, private partnership between business in KZN and government. I co-chair the Growth Coalition with the KZN Premier, whoever happens to be the Premier has that standing opportunity to co-chair with business. Sharon, let me share briefly what we are all about in terms of the work that we do. Our main thrust, the gist and the crux of what we do lies in promoting what we call catalytic projects and basically growing the economy of KZN. We work very, very closely with virtually all chambers in the province, and especially the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry. There is undoubtedly a lot of untapped opportunity for South African companies to trade effectively in the UK. But of course, trading internationally requires support and guidance. That's where we see SA Chamber playing a crucial role in providing that much needed strategic support. And to that point, I must say that SA Chamber come at a very, very perfect time, where as business, we truly believe that SA businesses, much of whom sit as our members at the KZN Growth Coalition in KZN, are so keen to extend their horizons by exporting to most countries around the world, and in particular UK, which remains one of major partners of KZN. We would like to see our exports grow, and we know that the supportive networks and local advisory services are possible with SA Chamber UK. The KZN Growth Coalition is so excited that there is another organization helping in the work of growing the SA economy. We, as the Growth Coalition, will stand side by side the SA Chamber in this marvelous and significant work that you are doing. Maybe let me go on to share some of the opportunities which have been alluded by David. Beyond the manufacturing that David and Palesa spoke so eloquently about, we see huge opportunities in the renewable space. If you look at, for example, Richards Bay, that port as a deep port, the opportunities around gas to power opportunities, for example, are huge. We think there will be an opportunity as well to set up what I would call a gas terminal and a regasification terminal, which will feed into the gas to power opportunities that we see within the next 3 to 5 years. You would be very excited as well to note that Transnet has issued what I would call a call for a PPP, where they are calling for the business involvement in the running of the ports, in particular the Pier 2 in Durban, which is part of what they call a hub port for the country, and Ngruha, which would be positioned as a transshipment port. Of course, there will be standard opportunities, and we hope and see ourselves going back to ensuring that tourism does go back to original numbers which we saw pre-COVID, especially because the government and the president announced the further lockdown and moving the country to level 2, which we welcome as the province. In conclusion, really, Sharon, I must take the opportunity to say a few things about the unrest that the country experienced, especially the KZN province. It must be a top of mind issues for many people around the world, and obviously the country here. I'm one of the people who never believe that wars and unrest should be seen as a stimulus of any sort. It shouldn't come to that level. But I must say that every cloud has a silver lining. What we've seen in the country here, especially when it comes to social cohesion. We saw, the social compact coming to realization. That social compact, which is civil society, business, working so closely together, to contribute to the stoppage of what took a form of a carnage. So it really promoted cohesion. But I must say this, and that's most important for business, it cultivated a new culture where we saw a renewed enthusiasm, within our society, within the business community in particular, to reset and rebuild the economy. We think that we contribute quite exponentially in terms of growing the business. Most economists are already thinking that given our base, we will begin to grow this economy by some 4 or 5% as from next year. Thank you very much, Sharon, for giving me the opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you so much. It's so enlightening to see what people are actually genuinely doing down on the ground, making a difference to people's lives, to businesses, to opportunities to trade. And it's people like yourselves that actually make these things happen. So thank you so much for sharing all that insight with us. Viloshini, I'd like now to turn to yourself as a representative of KZN Standard Bank, and who I have met on visiting David a couple of years ago, before this thing called COVID. And great to have met you at that point in time. And if you could just share with us from a banking perspective, how do you feel what we started talking about 2.5 years ago, and where we've got to now, and what kind of a difference is that going to make to your customers at Standard Bank, and how are we going to work together to make that difference? Are you on mute? Yes, you are. The most spoken statement globally in the world. You are on mute. Welcome to us, Viloshini. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. So David and I have worked together for many years now. I've worked with David, with DRG, and with Business Fit. And it's so exciting to see that these dreams come to life. And David has always been such an innovative person. At Standard Bank, Africa is our home, and we drive her growth. In doing this, we are very involved in the KZN business community. We support all types of initiatives that help to build the confidence with our entrepreneurs and our local business leaders. Standard Bank also is the lead sponsor for the KZN Top Business portfolio. And what links very nicely into this program here is that we have a very innovative trade club networking platform that links across 190 countries. So in line with our strategy to support business development in South Africa, we are so happy to be partnering with the South African Chamber Trade Development Initiative. And we really want to thank the South African Chamber for the work that they've done in helping to grow and develop the South African economy. We really look forward to a great partnership going forward.
Thank you, Viloshini. And we look forward to working with you and with Standard Bank, who are already platinum and potentially strategic partners of the Chamber. And they are the bankers of the Chamber. So we have a very strong relationship with yourselves as well, which is absolutely fantastic. I'd now like to turn to our last speaker, one no less than Kuseni Dlamini. Kuseni has been a friend of the Chamber for a very, very long period of time, and an absolute inspiration to me. Many times he challenges me as hard as he can to make sure we are constantly improving. coming up with new ideas and sharing time with us on our advisory board, and obviously contributing quite dramatically in terms of the content that we do within the advisory board environment. So thank you very much for your contribution. The two companies of which you are chairman, Aspen and Massmart, are very, very lucky organizations. Please can you share with us, Kuseni, your perspective on South Africa's business, the confidence that people have on doing business, and the opportunity to do business. South Africa is always a place that is a full glass, least of all a half full glass. And it's wonderful to see how, even under the most difficult times, how South Africans can prosper. Doesn't matter how close to the edge they might be taken first. So can we please have your hopes for business and how we as the Chamber, with yourself included, can actually contribute to making this an even greater initiative?
Well, thank you very much, Sharon, and thanks to David, your colleague, with whom you've managed to orchestrate and put together this very wonderful event that gets us talking, happening at a very historic and significant time in UK, SA business relations. As David said, I think the trade routes are well established between the two countries. The relationships are as deep as they are historic, and as they are also cultural, and they are based on person-to-person dynamics as well. We've got many people of British ancestry living in South Africa, calling South Africa home, and vice versa, many South African people living in the UK. So if I were to answer your question directly, I would say it's really the business climate or environment in South Africa. It's a tale of two stories. And the first story is the positive one, where we're seeing a buoyant mining industry, which has managed to shield the South African economy from a fiscal crisis and managed to help our South African revenue service to collect enough tax to avoid any tax increases that were feared in February this year when the Minister of Finance was delivering his budget. We've also seen other sectors such as the renewable energy industry, which I would argue is a golden opportunity for investors from the British side of the aisle to come to South Africa and participate in the Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Program, which is run by the government, and it's been one of the best run in the world without any corruption. And there was not even a mention of the Renewable Energy Program in the Zondo Commission in South Africa, which is a good plus. It shows that things can happen without corruption. The story of South Africa is not just one about corruption, but it's also one about good governance and about being able to do business in a place that has got a rule of law, that has got the sanctity of contracts being respected, and that has got stability and certainty and predictability, which is very crucial to investors. So that's an area of massive opportunity. We've also seen our manufacturing sector picking up in various ways, and with a lot of focus as part of building back, Sharon, from the ashes of COVID, which the whole world faces. And there's a lot of focus in really investing in our local industrial and productive capacities. But the other story is not such a good story. We've seen, we had Palesa speaking about small and medium enterprises earlier on. The plight of small and medium enterprises under COVID has really been very adverse, and it requires a redoubling of efforts to help small and medium enterprises survive. I mean, there are three parts there, three really scenarios: those that will survive, and those that will scrape by through the TARES assistance, the unemployment insurance fund that the government has been sort of dishing out and helping with, and those that are collapsing. You see them collapsing left and right. I think this is the time to look at those sectors. And we've got the hospitality sector and hotel sector and the tourism sector, which has been severely affected by the lockdowns. It's really blinding the floor if you look at that sector. We've got the property sector, which has been adversely impacted, especially commercial property and business type property, which has been adversely impacted by the work from anywhere trend. I wouldn't say work from home, because we can work from anywhere. I'm talking to you from the Kruger National Park, not from home. So I can have the liberty of working from anywhere in the era of COVID, as we all do. So that has had an impact on the property sector. So it's really, it's that kind of dynamic, but what what is encouraging is that I think we've just seen statistics coming from Statistics South Africa about GDP growth. In the last quarter, we grew at 1.2%. We can grow better. I think there's a view that we can go at 5.5% going forward. But that will not just come from the sky. It requires leadership. It requires a social compact, which Moses was speaking about, between government, business, and the private sector and civil society. It requires all hands on deck, leadership across the piece and across the board. It requires us to think outside the box and be decisive and be risk takers and learn as we lead in the process, because there's nobody that was ever prepared to lead under an environment of COVID. What we are facing in KZN, though, is really a two-track crisis that also requires a two-track recovery strategy. The first track of the crisis is the pandemic that we've spoken about, we all know about. And then the second track of the crisis is the rioting and the looting and the mayhem that we saw in July. And my company, Massmart, was severely affected with two of our macro stores, one in Pietermaritzburg, another one in Springfield, and a distribution center in River Horse Valley was burnt to ashes. So we are focusing now on emerging stronger out of this. People have been asking us, what is your view? What is Walmart's view on investing in KZN in South Africa? We're saying that we want to double down on investing even more. We are not looking at just rebuilding what has been destroyed. In our engagement with the Premier and his leadership, we've been saying, please give us more sites, give us more real estate. We want to build more stores beyond just what has been destroyed. We are fortunate that we've got 8,000 employees in KZN. We're able to look after them, even those that are sitting at home, taking a view to pay their salaries until we've rebuilt the stores. We are helping them with food parcels. We've partnered with Gift of the Givers and Food Forward. We're distributing food parcels across KZN. On a single day in needy communities, we distribute between 140,000 and 150,000 food parcels to needy communities, because we believe that the people of KZN must have sustainable livelihoods for them to meaningfully participate in the economy. And as we rebuild what has been destroyed, we also need to look after them. We also need to look at social cohesion in our communities. And for us, that is something that makes commercial sense, because we cannot be a successful company in a province that is not successful. So the success of KZN is inextricably intertwined with our success as a business. And that is why we are very determined to invest more in the province and to be part of all the efforts to grow the province and make sure that we help KZN to emerge as a force for good and as a magnet for the attraction of foreign investment from the UK. And as you said earlier on, Sharon, I've been privileged to be part of delegations from England, coming from England to KZN, and from KZN going into the UK as well. And I'm informed that in July, on the 19th of July next year, just one day after Mandela Day, the County Durham Local Council is going to be hosting a business dialogue between South Africa and KZN and the north of England. And that is something that is to be welcome. And there's going to be a cricket match between the two countries, between England and South Africa as well. And the back of that, there's going to be dialogue on business. So we need to leverage all the opportunities and all the platforms and the avenues that are there to really deepen and promote meaningful trade and investment opportunities between KZN and the UK. And the fact that we now have a direct flight from London Heathrow to Durban is also an important propeller for trade and investment that we must use. And we have some of our board meetings for the other company that I chair, Aspen Pharmacare. We have some of them in Durban. I'm pleased that our director who lives in the UK can just fly directly from London to Durban, doesn't have to go via Johannesburg. And I'm also pleased that Aspen Pharmacare, which I'm chairman of, is a Durban company. It was founded in a 4-bedroom house in Durban, and now we operate across 50 countries in the world. Our product footprint goes across 150 countries in the world. We are suppliers of medicine to the British National Health System, National Health Service, NHS. We have a significant operation up in Ireland, where John Mulder is, and we operate across Europe. We've got plants in France, in Germany, in the Netherlands, across the world. And that's a company founded in Durban. And I'm mentioning this because the trade has to be two-way. It's about South African companies investing in opportunities in the UK and also UK companies investing in opportunities in South Africa, just like we have in Richards Bay. We've got Rio Tinto, which is a major investor in the KZN economy, and actually the single largest taxpayer to the KZN economy, and that's a good plus. And you've got leading companies like Bell Equipment in Richards Bay. Their footprint goes across Europe, goes across North America and elsewhere. Products are produced, the technology produced in KZN. The IP is KZN owned, but the footprint has been globalized. On the issue of small and medium enterprises, I would say that's an area of massive opportunity that we should focus on as a chapter, as the KZN chapter of the South African Chamber of Commerce in the UK, because there are low-hanging fruits there. I've seen it from a practical experience within Massmart. We have a supply development program where we support small and medium enterprises to grow their businesses, whether in manufacturing or in whatever area they are in, and we assist them with offtake, but we don't end there. We also help them to export their goods to our other stores across Africa. And we've helped some suppliers from South Africa to export to Walmart globally. We bring buyers from Bentonville in Arkansas to South Africa. We arrange them to meet with suppliers, local suppliers, and some of the suppliers have managed to get their goods listed in Walmart stores globally. And we look at countries such as Germany and Switzerland and Austria. They are built on the back of world-class global small and medium enterprises that take advantage of global supply chains, and they manage to penetrate those supply chains to be exporters to blue chip companies, whether it's your Siemens, it's Coca-Cola, whether you name it, across all sectors. I think there is a great opportunity if we really think outside the box, and they also leverage the digital era that we live in, and leverage the digitalization of every sector, whether if you're in agriculture, there's agri-tech. If you're in financial services, there's fintech. If you're in healthcare, there's health tech. So we have to look beyond just doing things the traditional and conventional and old-fashioned way, and realize that we live in a digitalizing economy, and position our enterprises and position the companies that we seek to support as the chapter to be able to be mainstream players, to globalize their footprint and to think global while they're very firmly rooted locally. We've got a population of about 7.3 billion people in the world, and that's what our business people must think about. They must not think about the KZN population or the 60 million people in South Africa or only the 1.2 billion people in Africa. We must think like the Koreans. Korea is almost the same size as South Africa. But every country you go to, there will be Samsung products, there will be an LG product, there will be a Korean car, there will be an Samsung smartphone. They've managed to punch above their weight. And when you look at Korea in the 50s, they're almost in the same position as most sub-Saharan African countries. But they've managed within a few decades to be able to turn their fortunes around, to be able to leapfrog and become a first world economy. And I believe that with the youthful population that we have in South Africa and in KZN, and their hunger and passion for knowledge and entrepreneurship and innovation, we can be able to really achieve a lot. We've already seen with the likes of Elon Musk. He was born in South Africa. I want to ask all of you on this call, if Elon Musk didn't leave South Africa, he stayed in South Africa, will he be the success that he is today? Who wants to venture an answer? If Patrick Singh, who is now involved in pharmaceuticals in the West Coast, also stayed in Port Elizabeth, he was born in PE, will he be the success that he is? I would like to know what you think. But the key thing is, it's about creating the right ecosystems for entrepreneurs. We have many Elon Musks in Durban, in Gauteng, Western Cape, Mpumalanga, across the country, across Southern Africa. But what is lacking is the ecosystem for them to be able to unleash their full potential. And that requires leaders in business and leaders in government and civil society to really think long and hard and be strategic in creating ecosystems that will create the next generation of world-class entrepreneurs. It is possible to be based in Durban and still be a world-class company. Aspen has proven that. Our head office remains in Durban. We're a global leading pharmaceutical company that has got products that are used in first world countries. When people in Germany are sick, they use our medication. In France, everywhere, in the USA, everywhere. So it is possible in all sectors for young South Africans, young people from KZN to really build global giants And the only thing we need is to create the right enabling ecosystems for them to build their businesses, scale those businesses up, and globalize those businesses, and make sure that we create the right supportive and policy environment. And normally what lacks in most African markets are the right policies that are supportive of entrepreneurship, supportive of innovation, supportive of research and development, or of inventions. It is no reason why our young people have to go to Silicon Valley for them to realize their dreams if they want to have ventures in the fourth industrial revolution type space. We should be able to create that. We're seeing countries in Africa like Kenya, like Rwanda, starting to create innovation centers that are world-class and starting to attract talent from other continents into those markets to be able to drive innovation. And that is something that I believe KZN, with the universities that we have in KZN and with the culture of innovation that is there, with many world-class companies in KZN, we can be able to leverage the capacity and resources of those companies and those institutions in the academic space to be able to create opportunities that are enabling and empowering to our young people. And if the KZN Chamber enables, if we can just enable to be able to do that and create one or two, I think that will be enough, because those one or two will actually empower many others. But I think we are more ambitious than that. We aim to create more than one or two, and more than 10, more than 20, because that is something that I believe that we can and indeed must do, because if we don't do it, then we will continue to fail our people. I believe that we need to look beyond the riots in KZN. In my view, KZN is open for business, but it doesn't end there. And I believe that the authorities, from my engagement with them at provincial level and national level, they are very committed to making KZN safer for business too. So we all have to make sure we assist KZN to rise. And I can see KZN rising every day. I'm there and I'm interacting with our businesses. And I think KZN has got the capacity to rise higher and higher. And we can leverage the relationships we have with the UK to be able to fast track and expedite that process of building back better, faster, to ensure we have an inclusive economy, a job-creating economy, and a greener economy, that we can be sure that when we leave the environment to future generations, it's much more safer, it's much more sustainable. And we can only do this if we work in a collaborative fashion, and if we partner, we believe in partnerships that work, partnerships that are mutually beneficial. And I think the relationship between the UK and South Africa has to pivot towards win-win sustainable relationships and partnerships. And we need to pivot it to look beyond just the extractive sectors. Most of the export market from South Africa comprises PGMs, it comprises iron ore, comprises also vehicles that are manufactured as a result of our successful automobile program in South Africa, and also agricultural products. I think we should pivot the basket towards services, towards knowledge-intensive industries, and towards value-added products that have got an impact on job creation, that are labor-intensive in their nature, and that are empowering communities so that communities benefit from trade. And a trade and investment that doesn't empower and benefit communities is not sustainable. We need to leverage trade and investment, as I close, need to leverage trade and investment as a powerful and positive force for good to alleviate poverty, reduce unemployment, and reduce inequalities. And I believe that today is a great moment that will enable us to make a contribution towards that. Thank you very much indeed, Sharon. Most appreciated.
Kuseni, I couldn't have put any of those statements together as beautifully, well-spoken, as eloquently said. Your energy, your passion as a Durban boy is just so infectious. It's really, really wonderful. One of the things I have to say is that it's wonderful to see how many businesses have taken a positive response to the problems that KZN in the country suffered a couple of months ago. And your story of, no, we're going in double rather than we're going away is actually a fairly common thread that we have seen. I have to say, if I look carefully, I can see there's some what looks like animal horns in the background. So yes, I think you might be telling us the truth. We're extremely jealous that you're in the bush, but that's the wonderful thing of what technology can do today, is you can be anywhere. And the other aspect you referred to briefly was tourism, and the South African Chamber is working with a number of parties within South Africa and within the UK government and near government, and related to put forward petitions efforts in terms of trying to get the red channel status of South Africa changed. So we are putting in some very direct efforts with the relative parties to see if we can get a win on that sooner rather than later. The other thing is we talked about the word innovation. We have our innovation awards at the end of the month, so that will be nice for us to all join and find out who we have commended for the innovation that they have delivered during this very difficult year. And the focus that we have in the Chamber, in addition to the things that Kuseni has given us the insights into, is the promoting to UK Limited the existence of the South African market and how easy it is actually to do business with South Africa. There are barriers that are perceptions. We want to get rid of those perceptions and get the business moving. There are a number of really good questions. I have captured them, and I will come back to those people individually where the Chamber can answer it, or I will call on Moses to get the answer for the one that was aimed for himself. And then we've had the thank yous, the positives, the jealousy because of where you are, and the extremely exciting aspects that are happening. And we do have a webinar on next week, which is on ESG and the energy transition within the agricultural sector within South Africa. So other people, would you please join us for that as well? And Alan Clark, you're one of them, a few others that have asked questions. We will come back to you directly with answers. So I'd like to thank everybody. We are over time. I do apologize to my esteemed panel who have made this hour fly by so quickly. I'd like to thank all of you, David White, thanks for organizing this, and Mxolisi Miya for supporting him in this exercise and for championing what the Chamber is going to do. Kuseni, for your absolute passion. It is such a pleasure to listen to you. Moses, another KZN man, thank you very much for your insights on all the activities that are happening in the ground. And to Palesa, who is ensuring that business is picking over and doing extremely well within the urban environment, and with whom we will be working very closely in the times ahead. But Oshni, unfortunately, has had to drop off, and thanks to Standard Bank for the fantastic relationship that we have with them as a Chamber. And John, thank you very much for your passion coming all the way from the Emerald Isle and being there as the Brexit doorstop for all of us to, or leapfrog, that we can all jump onto your stone and into the European market very, very positively. So thank you for that. I think the Brexit opportunities that we can bring to our members are increased thanks to your involvement in the island environment. So to everyone else, amazing, amazing things. I can't say thanks anymore, but we have run over time. I'd like to thank you all. I'll be in contact with all of you directly. And once again, to each and every one of you, you made this last hour a very interesting one. Our drop-off rate was negligible. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Good day to everybody. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thanks, everyone.